So truth and beauty are connected. And if we produce grapes like this, they will have an inner harmony, a balance. The reason why I came to Villány first was that I was researching where does the best red wine grow in Hungary. Because I knew Hungary was one of the most important wine cultures in Europe before the Second World War. And I only heard and read Villány. I thought, wow, this is interesting. I think I have to go to Villány, and this was the reason for my first visit. I only wanted to go somewhere where I know I would produce serious, beautiful red wine. I always loved wines that tended to be elegant, more rather than full-bodied, strong. But I didn't have a clear picture. I just understood in Villány it's possible to make beautiful red wine. And that was for me this was enough. This house, I bought it in 1998. After I had already bought about 7 hectares of vineyards. So it started with the vineyards, but I knew that I need a place where it happens. So I came in May and looked at this house. I walked in through the gate, turned left, looked in this direction where I'm sitting now. And in this very moment, I knew I will buy this house. But I knew it immediately. I don't know where it came from, but I knew I will buy this house. And then later, only later, after I had bought it, I realized this house is the exact copy of the house of my great-grandfather in Franzfeld, in Kačarevo. And this was a shocking experience. The house has got 6 windows like this along the street. And I love this house from the first moment. I cannot say if it has anything to do with my great-grandfather or his house, but as a matter of fact, they are identical. I had in my mind I would like to work biodynamic from the start, but when I really started here, then I realized this is not realistic, because I have no experience in biodynamic agriculture, biodynamic wine growing. I had read the book of Nicolas Joly. I also had read some books of Rudolf Steiner, so I was involved in anthroposophic thinking, biodynamie and these things, but it still didn't mean I can do it. So I understood I have to go the pragmatic way, do what is possible, and then from there, step by step. And what was possible was so-called, at that time, integrated viticulture. All our vineyards were always green from almost from the start. We never used synthetic fertilizer, but even no other fertilizer. We never used herbicides. And the fermentation in the cellar was also spontaneous from the start. And then since 2009, we are certified organic. And in 2016, I started using biodynamic preparations. My way to produce wine is to intervene as little as possible. And if we work with good quality grapes that come from no or low interventional viticulture, they bring an inner harmony. I only accompany this process. You don't have to tell a grape how to become wine. The grape knows it. You only have to allow it. I mean, if you let the grape fall to the ground, it will not become wine. So you have to provide a container, something wet or doesn't matter, where the grapes can properly ferment, or the juice. So do it. And usually this wine will not disappoint you. I never have, so to say, a positive picture of what I want or expect only from, let's say, style. Okay, I know if I make 5 days maturation, I will have less tannin than if I do 3 weeks maturation, let's say with harsh leveling, with orange wine. So I have to make decision, what do I want? Do I want to have a full orange wine like Gore, or maybe lighter tannins like in Bernstein, or so, okay, this is the decision you make as a wine grower, as a winemaker. But the rest happens. It's a very old cellar. It's more than 100 years old. I don't know exactly when this cellar was built, but I think it should be about the same age like this house, like 1896 or so. It's a very old cellar. And in this cellar almost always has been wine. And with the wine immediately come the fungi. And this is a special, they are different cultures, of course, like in the vineyard and in the soil. There are special cellar fungi, cellar cultures, and they are part of the terroir. Although it looks moldy, it's this white fungi on the walls and so, and there is fungi on the ground. They are different cultures, and they have complex connection, and they clean the air from bacteria or anything. They sit on the barrels. They somehow interconnect also with the wine, and they are part of the terroir. Wine doesn't come from sterile situation. The vineyard is not sterile. The winery is not sterile. It has to be clean, but not sterile. Wine would never derive from sterility. It's exactly the opposite. I mean, wine comes from yeast, from bacteria, and also these fungi cultures in the cellar are essential. And they are part of the terroir. They give something also to the wine that is unique. Every cellar is unique, has its own fingerprint. And once I spoke with Claude Bourguignon. He's a terroir expert from Burgundy in France. And he said, never try to sterilize a cellar. So always try to keep this culture. It's essential. There is this German philosopher Heidegger, this sentence by him which plays a big role in my thinking. It's in German, it's das Wesen der Wahrheit ist Schönheit. So truth and beauty are connected. You realize the truth, your whole body feels it. And the same it's the same with beauty. It's a sensation, you sense it. We realize it. If the truth happens, it always has, or very often, something to do with beauty. And this balance is provided by nature. And if we have the right grapes at the right place, they fit the terroir, we get the terroir expression in the grapes, and in the end we find this harmony, this complexity later in the wine, and it will always be beautiful, doesn't matter what it is. You experience it, you don't judge it, it just happens. It makes you smile, or you don't have to do anything, it happens to you. My idea from wine growing is that we should be able to produce this kind of wine without doing damage to anything or anybody. And then we have this pure expression of terroir, this complex encounter of nature and culture, soil, fungi, air, water, sun, the grape variety, the climate, the microclimate, the macroclimate. And it's a very, very complex situation, but everything in life is complex. And if we do it the right way, then we get the beauty in the bottle. Yeah, food has always been an important part of my life. My first cooking experience was when I was 12, and I tried to cook a meal that my friends from Bonanza had cooked in the TV series, which was a disaster in the end. And that's when somehow from there. But when I think back, the next thing that I remember, with 16, I tried to cook my first coq au vin, which was also not a big success, but it was a start. So, and I always had this desire to cook, and I always also loved food. But cooking is another form of self-expression. I think you can learn a lot about people if you just watch how and what they are cooking. Then again, we are in the same field like writing and wine making. And of course, food and wine. I mean, I don't have to mention that they belong together. And I love both. And the best for me is to sit with friends at a table and share good food and good wine.